Hello everybody, welcome to the Gastric Mindset podcast. My name is Safi. I am 8 years post-op, a therapeutic practitioner with a focus on disordered eating pre and post-bariatric surgery. On this podcast, my aim is to vanish crappy fad dieting and unhelpful thinking to reclaim our mindset with a little rewiring so we can stop yo-yo dieting and get off the roller coaster once and for all. Welcome to season 2 with a new name and a new look. I have some great guests lined up who are experts in this area and will provide us with some great tips to build our own toolkit. I am passionate about making psychological support accessible for long-term success, both physically and emotionally. Hello everybody, welcome to a new episode of my podcast. Welcome to this week. I have an interview with a lovely lady called Pinky, a fellow bariatric patient, and Pinky's kind enough to come and share her journey with us. And one thing I want this podcast to do is to have a balanced view of the ups and downs, the different sides of having bariatric surgery, as much as we concentrate on the emotional aspect of emotional eating and so on. I think it's also important to hear about all the other jigsaws, or the whole picture of having bariatric surgery, especially abroad. So I'm going to stop going on and let Pinky introduce herself. Pinky, thank you so much. Could you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, certainly. Hello. Thanks for having me. My name's Pinky. I'm 45 and I've been struggling with my weight all my life. I did start on the NHS path, but unfortunately, due to a few different setbacks and complications, I considered Turkey for surgery. I did a lot of what I thought was a lot of research. It was 9 months worth. I used sites like Google Reviews and Trustpilot. I didn't think too much of that. I don't think too much of that anymore. I think the best thing to go on is personal testimony, but I didn't know that at the time. So when I chose the clinic, it was purely on reviews, and they were glowing reviews. And the surgeon had been doing this work for 20 odd years. I felt very secure in the decision I'd made. When I got there, the hospital was immaculate, but there was no one there to speak English. I wasn't worried because I knew my rep was coming the next day and she was an English speaker. When I got there quite late, but they still did all relevant tests on me. I had my bloods taken. I had an x-ray of my chest. And then they told me I was going for surgery next morning. So night, go to sleep. Also add that my husband was with me. He's my carer. But they also catered for him. So he had food and he was staying in the same hospital room as me. It was a little like a hotel with a hospital bed in. So the next morning, I met the surgeon. He did, at the time, seem lovely. He basically told me that I was second in the queue out of 3 that day, and he'd see me in approximately 3 hours. I was very excited, and about 3 hours later, nurses came in to gown me up for the operation. But at the same time, that's when my consent forms arrived. So I was all gowned up, all suited up, and glasses off. And I did sign it, but I don't know what I was signing. And I've never actually seen it since.
So it wasn't in English?
I couldn't even tell you if it was in English or not.
Right.
I know it's very silly of me to have done that.
I think a lot of us do it. I can't remember what was in my consent form, so I don't think you're alone there. I think that's something we all do.
You're like a cross between swept up in the moment, knowing that you're sure and trusting the people around you. It's a bit like red tape at the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I've already committed to the people around me. As I said, I've never seen the form since. And next thing I remember is waking up in sheer agony. I already have many conditions that are pain related, so I knew this wasn't normal. I told the nurses about how much pain I was in, and they just kept saying to me, it's normal, it's normal. It's the gas from the laparoscopic operation. And although I've never felt that before, I knew it wasn't just that. The pain was immense and it was quite high up, and it felt like extreme indigestion, acid, very painful. It was painful to swallow, but they just kept laughing it off, saying, drink as much as you can and walk it off. Well, I'm a wheelchair user. I just kept pointing to the wheelchair.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, I've got poor vein access.
Right.
And as soon as I came out of surgery, my cannula came out and they could not get another one in. So for the first 24 hours after surgery, I had zero water.
Wow.
Nothing. I couldn't have fluids and I couldn't have any pain meds either.
Oh my goodness.
Initially, when I came round, I was only on paracetamol anyway, and I take much, much more than that at home.
Yeah.
After that, things were a bit of a blur, probably because of how poorly I was, but I just kept telling them about the pain. They just kept responding, it's normal, and walk it off and drink more. So after the first 24 hours, I was allowed to drink, but because of the pain, I just couldn't get any in.
Yeah.
And again, keep drinking, keep drinking. 2 days after surgery, I was discharged to a nearby hotel, which I don't remember much about. And then my aftercare was via WhatsApp. And I was hearing the same things. I was saying, I am in agony. And the answer was drink more. I then flew home somehow. I don't recall it at all. And they hadn't replied to me via WhatsApp for, it must have been 2.5 days. The next reply I got, I was back in Liverpool, and it was go and see your doctor and send me the report. So, excuse me, I saw my doctor. I saw him in person, and he wasn't too worried about me because I looked fine and all my obs were fine. But I said, and knowing my body, I said, I just don't feel right at all. Can I have a blood test? And a week later, I had that blood test. The day after we received the results, which was the next day, that same doctor rang me and said, get to hospital now.
Wow.
It's sepsis.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went to my nearest hospital and they did a CT scan and repeated the bloods. By that time, the infection markers in my bloods had doubled. So it was even worse than the day before. And on the CT scan, they found a leak at the staple line. So I was a little bit out of their remit at that point. So I was transferred to a bigger, better hospital in Liverpool, which is just over the water, only a few miles away. That's the Royal Liverpool. And when I got there, everything was repeated. Again, everything was worse. So I was on a drip of fluids, potassium, had 3 types of antibiotics, and antifungal, and slowly things did start to get better. I was told at the very beginning that this could take months, and I was absolutely devastated at that. But obviously, I'm 10 months later and I'm still in the same situation. So day one at the Royal, they put me under to actually physically have a look at what's going on. And they put an endoscope down, and the sleeve, the new stomach, was so tight they could only just get the endoscope in, and they couldn't move it about to actually visualize the leak. And they've never to this day been able to, because it's that narrow. But obviously they know the consequences of it because the fluid was leaking into my body cavity, and they could see all that, and it's still there now, and it's pushing on my spleen and my lung, causing a partial collapse, and it's very, very painful.
So what's happened with so you come back to England, you under the NHS now. Anything from them after that initial text or communication that you had with them when you landed and they said go to your
Turkish surgeons.
Yeah.
All they've said to me is send us your medical reports and we'll make a plan. And I told them we don't get our medical reports until we're discharged. And they were like, we'll pray for you.
Wow.
And that's it. Yeah. That is my aftercare.
Wow.
When I did kick up a fuss with them, and I said I wanted a Zoom call, a consultation with them, they failed to turn up. So I was a bit angry with them, and I asked them why they were a no-show. And they basically said it's because I've put it on social media.
Right.
And I'm bad-mouthing Turkey, so they're cutting all ties with me.
Wow. Is this one of the popular... Sorry, go Pinky. Yeah.
I did reply that I'm not bad-mouthing Turkey. I'm just bad-mouthing him.
Not the whole country. Like I've not.
No, definitely not.
Is this one of the popular ones that people go with? Because I don't know. There's
not
a few
actually,
doctors that.
No.
Okay, there's a few doctors that online and that a lot of the community uses, but I know Turkey is quite popular. I know, but it's a lot of people are successful. Oh my! So this must
definitely.
Yeah. We take a risk. We all know we take a risk, right? When we go in, especially if we're going abroad, we all know we're taking a risk. But could we just go back a little bit with your story, just a tiny bit more about your struggles beforehand, or how did you end up coming to that conclusion that you must go to? Did you try the NHS? Tell me a bit about your journey with obesity.
Yes. So in 2018, I ended up in hospital. I had pancreatitis, which again led to sepsis. I was further diagnosed with type 3C diabetes, high cholesterol, PCOS, metabolic syndrome. I already had arthritis, ME, and a condition called hidradenitis suppurativa. Whilst I was in hospital, the doctor had said to me that I need to lose weight. It needs to be surgery because I need to lose it all rather quickly for me to even survive, he was basically saying. So I joined the weight loss management team on the NHS. I was on it for a year. They had asked me to lose 5% of my weight. And I had to go to a few classes, which I completed everything. By the end of it, I was completely bedridden. So my final consultation, where they were supposed to sign me off to put me on the waiting list for surgery, it was supposed to be a phone consultation. So I waited and waited, and it didn't happen. And then I got a letter in the post saying I was a no-show. Well, obviously I wasn't a no-show. I had to sitting there with the phone in my hand. So they told me that I was off the course, and if I wanted to start again, I'd have to speak to my GP, get re-referred, and start the whole year again, which I did. And we went through it all again. I went through all the requirements. And would you believe I was a no-show again at the end? But again, they were supposed to ring me and they didn't.
Wow.
This happened 4 years in a row.
My goodness.
Yes. So at this point, I was desperate. And I knew that in the case of Turkey, it was basically you can book and go.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a waiting list. It would be when I decide. So that's when I did some research and I booked it and went.
Okay. With all,
I never even considered surgery until that surgeon in the UK mentioned it.
Wow. And then, what was the time? How quickly did it all happen? How quickly did you message them? And was it within weeks or within, like, how long did it take?
I took 9 months of research,
Mm,
but in between actually booking and going
mm,
was weeks.
wow.
Yeah,
You must have been really excited, with
I
the,
was very, very.
yeah. And, it's cheaper than the UK, but it's still not free. And you're
No,
paying,
no, no, it's
you
not.
know, so you
This
spent,
was 2,100, and
yeah,
that was for all accommodation for both of us,
yeah.
and Paul, my husband's food, and the operation.
Wow. So was there, because I know from what I see in social media, especially the big groups of girls or women go together, or patients.
Yes,
Did you have
I
a
would
group?
say that is a better option than I did. I was just on my own.
Mm,
And I think that when you go with a group
mm,
and you know there's been a previous group and there's a community, then
mm.
you can all support each other. And like I said earlier, it's factual testimony. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just
yeah.
random numbers on the internet that you find.
Yeah, yeah. Compared to if you speak to people who've had it. So I
Yeah.
remember when I spoke to you, you said there was other people also who had come. I don't know if you just met them at the hospital, but who were also in serious situations. And I don't know. I know you've been on ITV and so on. So was those other people with you, or are they just
No,
another
I don't
stories?
know who they are.
Right,
Yeah, they
right,
just,
right.
when I was admitted to the Royal,
Uh-huh.
I was the fifth. I was the fifth person on that ward. I was the first person to survive. Two others didn't,
Wow.
and the age range was massive. One of the ladies was in her late 60s.
Mm,
The girl that died, she was 26.
wow. So
Yes,
young.
and she wasn't particularly overweight. They
Mm.
just took her anyway.
Yeah, yeah, most, they don't have to, there's no actual threshold. They're happy to
No,
take anybody,
no,
aren't they? Yeah,
yeah.
it's shocking. So, in regards to where you stand with them, what is the law? Is there law protecting? What are you? Tell us a bit about the law. How does it?
I don't actually know what the law is. I just
Mm,
know that I've contacted several English lawyers,
mm-hmm,
and they say because Turkish law is different, they don't practice Turkish law, so they can't represent me
mm,
against the Turkish case. However, I have found a Turkish law lawyer that is willing to represent me, but they don't do things like no win, no fee. So,
mm.
and it's a lot of money up front.
How
It's
much is it?
5,000.
5,000 up front.
Yes, yeah.
And then if you win, would they take the rest money from there, or is it just 5,000?
If I win, I'm probably going to win upwards of 150,000.
So
And
I
if
know.
I'm declared not able to eat or drink again, it's substantially more.
So what with that is your life? Obviously, the quality of your life is declined.
Completely. I am attached to this pump feeding it's like a formula
Mm,
being pumped in through my nose down into my jejunum, which is my upper bowel.
mm,
I'm just attached to that 12 hours a day.
yeah, and that's
Obviously, I can't eat nor drink, and I've got to take all my medication. It has to be crushed or liquid form down the tube.
why. And how is this impacting your psychological well-being?
It's been horrendous. I've had several breakdowns. I don't know how I've managed how I have, but it's just bizarre.
Yeah, because you want justice, don't you? And you want justice
I
for not
do,
only
yes.
yourself, but for
I
those.
would love
Mm,
to, instead of receiving the money, the doctor be held responsible in some
mm,
way.
mm,
I'm thinking about opening a charity to
mm,
help people like myself, like navigate research
mm.
of having the Turkish surgery. Because I'm not saying no to Turkish surgery. Just there has to be some kind of regulations on how to research properly.
And definitely. And I think for a lot of people, especially when you struggle with your weight and then the hoops that are, they're barriers.
Yeah.
Because the NHS is just full of hoops and it's
Oh
not an
yeah.
easy process. So people get to a stage where they're just sick of it and just want a, a they would just want an
Yeah.
answer, don't they? And I can't blame
Yes. I
them.
mean, to the members of the public, it looks like you can't be bothered
Yeah.
waiting,
Mm,
but you're desperate.
yeah. Especially when you're
Obesity
sick.
is
Yeah.
a disease,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you want to find a cure.
Definitely. So have you struggled with obesity? How many years have you struggled with it?
All my life, I'd
Right,
never been slim before.
right. And that's always the case, isn't it? So I'm guessing you
Yeah,
were on a diet off a diet starting Monday.
always.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly that.
yeah.
Just after this chippy tea.
Yeah, I think everybody you speak to has that in common, you can also, oh, yep, I was
Yeah,
joining that club and I was joining this club.
yes.
Yeah, you realize talking to people like you, what a actually huge, huge life-changing event it is. And
Yes, yeah,
you're trusting your life with somebody you hope has had many, 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 many years of,
yes,
training and
yeah.
experience, and then is willing to take responsibility.
Well,
That's the problem. He's not willing to even take
hasn't.
responsibility. Yeah,
Yeah.
if he put his hands up and said, "I'm so sorry, I got it wrong, it's human error, and let's see what we can do to help you," but the fact
I
that
would
he's,
definitely feel that, yes.
yeah. So I wonder what's the plan going forward? What do you hope to, what I know you're fighting and you're not going to stop fighting. Apart from the charity, what else are you hoping to do? And I know you're going around doing the media circuit as well. Tell us a bit about.
I want to help others. I
Mm,
believe this has happened to me for a reason because
mm,
I'm loud enough to shout about it and
mm.
help others.
Good for you. And so, what's next then? What's next? What's imminent? What are you going to do in the fight for justice?
Do you know what? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what tomorrow is. And
Yeah.
that's how I'm having to live at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Must be so hard. So I really, really take my hat off to you.
Thank
And
you. I'm not a patient person, so it has been very tasking.
yeah, I know, I bet. How do you cope without, for some of us, food is, I say it, food was my chosen drug. How
Yes,
does
I
it
mean,
feel?
I was a food addict,
Mm, yeah,
but I think I've come to realise the cold turkey has helped.
yeah,
I don't think about food at all.
yeah,
I'm quite scared of the day I can eat because
yeah,
it's like telling someone they can have a little drink, but
yeah, yeah,
having a little, no, once you've had a drink, you're going to want more.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Once I've eaten something, I'll want more.
Yeah. I totally agree that actually it's a bit like now you're dry and you're off the alcohol,
Yeah, I don't have to think about that.
but
I feel free.
yeah, my goodness, I didn't think of that, the fact that for you now it's almost it's just you've transitioned
Yes.
into this
Mhm.
way of
I've
being.
broken up with food.
Wow. And I wonder if that's what it will take everybody to, although, if it needs to be something as drastic as that in order for us to, you know, uh, w-
Yeah,
geez, thinking about that. But for me right now,
yes.
it would be, I would really, the idea, as much as I do so much work around it, the idea of not being able to eat food,
It's social as well. It's attached to everything, isn't it? You go and see friends, you have a cuppa
yeah,
and a biscuit.
yeah. Yeah, and your partner still obviously he has to eat to stay alive, and
Yes, he
there's food.
still has his takeaways. He had
Yeah,
McDonald's in front of me yesterday and
it
not
doesn't
bothered.
bother you.
Not at all.
Goodness me, you know what that reminds me a little bit of? I don't know if you've ever done any of those shake diets, Light to Life and Cambridge,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
and when you're really in ketosis and your body, it has you've got
Yeah.
no interest in it.
Mm,
But for me, it was very short lived, so I can't imagine
yes.
it being how long
No.
how many months or years out are you now?
10 months.
Wow. So you're still quite new to it. It's
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
I started off at 21 stone. I'm 10 stone 4 now.
Wow. My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of skin.
Yeah. And I can't imagine ever you thinking, let me go and get some plastic surgery.
Nope. No.
I totally get that. And I think that's when you're on social media, and especially you follow the accounts that we follow, it can get a bit you see all these people, their thigh lift, this down there, that down, and eventually after a while you go, oh, but it's never been something I wanted to
do. For me now.
No, definitely not. And I'm not gonna, I've had two, I had a gastric band, then I had a gastric mini bypass. So I think my luck. I'm not a cat, so I don't want to put myself in. Third time, fourth time.
Yes, yeah. So I think I've used up my luck.
So I definitely, it's not something I wanted, but it is something that, and it's. Do you think that we move on from one thing, we lose the weight, and then we move on to the next thing, which is the plastics, and then we move on from that and chasing the happiness? Do you think that happens in this?
When will you ever be happy with what you've got?
Yeah, that happens a lot, doesn't it? And I wonder, with your current situation, maybe you've got now look at it from with a different lens of just scratching.
Definitely, my eyes haven't caught up with my body yet. I still feel 21 stone, and then I see a photo. I'm like, who's that?
Yeah. Wow.
So I've got to catch up with that, and then I'll probably be disappointed in the future.
But we get desensitized to it. Right? I think that's all that happens, and then we move. Then we move the pole, or we move our need. Our happiness is going to be the next thing.
Yeah.
But I think he puts a lot of your situation brings it home that actually, everything just you just went for a little surgery. You didn't think, life is going to change overnight.
No. And it wasn't just normal complications. He did make errors. Right. He was in the wrong part. He was up in my esophagus putting. And I found out there should be guide tools, so that's not possible. So he's doing something wrong.
Do you know how long has he been operating for, do you know?
25 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
You should have gone Specsavers.
I know nothing. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I can't help
it. The husband says it's bring your chimp to work day.
What? I know I have a doctor for a sister. She's a GP, and I know they're only human. Right? Doctors are only human. Surgeons are only human. But to get away with the arrogance and the fact that he doesn't care.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's the most.
I've not spoken to him since. I've only spoken to the booking rep. I know he's probably not legally allowed to say sorry, but it's just very disappointing.
Wow. And I hope you're putting it everywhere, but I hope there's reviews and you are warning people off all the time, but
yes,
it's really, really difficult, isn't it? Because I think I don't know if you watched the documentary that one of the girls did about weight loss surgery abroad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if BBC was a BBC iPlayer, but she was just saying she's, horrible email, messages that she received, and people were really, not very happy with her. Basically,
right.
She wasn't bad mouthing. She was just, they would just talk about, particular.
I don't want to hear it because they're desperate.
Yeah.
And again, I think they're going for a cure. And I probably wouldn't have listened either because I thought I was in such a desperate situation.
It's a catch-22, isn't it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blame shouldn't be on us.
No,
it should be blame on the regulations and we can't sue them well. That needs to change.
I think also the NHS needs to figure out a new way. We need to figure out a new way to deal with obesity, because obesity is not getting any better in numbers.
Well, exactly that, yes. Yeah.
You know, weight loss surgery is it's newish to the UK. You know, if you see, in America, it's been going for a lot longer, and it's, you know, whether it's insurance, whatever it may be, we need to figure something out so you can be at home and have your operation in the country that you live in.
Yeah.
Where people who can
understand. We know the NHS to be accountable.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, mistakes happen, complications happen, but it's all just generally easier.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think you wouldn't, you know, even going to Belgium, I didn't understand the language, and they really struggled, even because of my dark skin. They struggled to find my veins, and they were trying to find them in my feet.
Ooh, they threatened that to me as well. Nope.
And you know, so it just feels, I would have loved to just been in England where I could understand everybody, and I was already feeling vulnerable. And
yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know what the answers are. I don't know what the answer.
I mean, the NHS are fantastic, and obviously they saved my life over and over. But definitely, the weight loss tiers need to be reassessed.
Without a shadow of a doubt, because now they're picking up the tab, aren't they? Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. I've cost them so much more than if I'd had the surgery initially. Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And a couple of months, maybe November, I can't believe how quick time's going. I went to take part in a weight management up in Yorkshire. They were I guess recommissioning, and I went to share my story. And just so really make people understand that actually this is just not, because there's a lot of people just stuck on that narrative of, we gave them a 6-week gym pass, and you're like,
oh yes, yeah.
Oh, 6 weeks.
I know.
What's gonna change in 6 weeks, oh Lord? So I don't know. The narrative needs to change there.
Definitely.
So, you know, my heart goes out to you, Pinky, and I think you're an incredibly strong woman, and you know, I really, really do hope there is a resolution to this, and you can get, you know, you get some of your life back, right? Some of your I will be that squeaky wheel trying to get some change. Yeah, no, definitely. So if you just, where can we, is there anything you want to add? I know you've got a GoFundMe page, right? And you got your own social media. Where is there any way you want people to find you to, I know you were thinking about doing some fundraising at some point as well. Tell us all about that. Yes. If anyone would like to support me or join in helping me to support others, you can Google my name, Pinky Jolley. That's Jolley. And on GoFundMe, if you type in "Help Pinky Jolley," I'll be first on the list. Fantastic. Maybe I will get the link, or maybe you can get me the link. Oh, excellent. And I'll put it. Pinky knows that I'm technologically challenged, and I will put it under the episode. And every little bit helps. Every little bit of support helps, Pinky. You're also on Instagram under. What are you under? Pinky Slims. Pinky_Slims. Fantastic. I'll also add that on, and you guys go and follow her and support her, because I think the more numbers, the more people there is, the more people would know about you, right, and hear about you and support you. Yes. So, so Pinky, thank you so much for sharing that. That story. It's a very powerful story. Thank you. It's a story that it's what we need to hear, that sometimes there is the other. Yes, definitely. There's wonderful stories, but there is that side that everybody must take into. We're taking that risk every time. Yes, you're right. Wonderful. Well, anything else you want to add, tell us about, Pinky, before I let you go? No, I think I've covered everything. Yeah, lovely speaking to you. Lovely speaking to you too. Pinky does all the rounds in all the news outlets, so look out for her. If you see her, send in a nice message, because there are some horrible trolls out there who don't. Oh yes. Who need to get a life. So yeah.
Yes, don't feed the trolls.
Yeah. So everybody go and message support if you see Pinky's, anything about Pinky out there in the internet and so on. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. I will see you next week. Bye-bye. I appreciate you for being here with me. I hope you got some value from this episode. If so, please give me a review. It will make me super happy and support others from our community to find the podcast. Share it with your Barry bestie. Connect with me on Instagram at Gastric Mindset. It'll be wonderful to hear from you.